Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Sally.
Can you just give us a brief introduction to who you are and what's your role at Dell?
First of all, thank you for having the time. My name is Said Akar. I'm based out of Dubai. I cover Europe, Middle East, and Africa with Dell around the Infrastructure Solution Group. I lead the team who are the global specialty sales. We focus on driving initiative with customers around data center modernization, multi-cloud related, AI related, edge related, or cybersecurity. So anything that Dell focus on from an ISG perspective.
Fantastic. So that you cover a very big region then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm living on a plane more than anything
I can
else.
imagine. I can imagine. So Dell's transformed, particularly. There's been significant transformations in terms of Dell over recent years around data center and particularly AI.
Yeah.
Can you just give us an overview of those areas, particularly in the Middle East?
Yeah, look, if first of all, if you take a look at globally how Dell has emerged, over the past 3-4 decades, actually,
Huge.
we've witnessed so many different revolution in the technology industry. Think of the internet era, then the cloud computing, and now AI.
Yeah.
And we believe AI is going to be very, very disruptive. This is really impacting the businesses all over the world. It's impacting the way we live,
Yes.
the way we do business. It's impacting the economy. Just if you take a look at the internet industry in the past, it's generating trillions of dollars to the economy.
Yeah.
Now everything is being digitized, and AI is coming with the same maybe direction, which is going to impact productivity in a positive way. It's going to impact the way we do business, but at a much faster pace. Dell has been always part of these revolution in the technology industry. We've been leading in certain places. We've been assisting and always committed to drive technology innovations and coming up with new ideas and new technology in order to help customers to do this. The Middle East is no different than the globe. We've been present here for decades in the region, working with customers and partners and helping them with their journey, with their digital journey. And recently now, very much involved around everything that is happening on AI. The impact to the IT industry is massive.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So there is Allied Market Research has been talking about by 2027, for example, globally, there will be a $90 billion industry due to the AI. This is a 20.9 compound annual growth from 2020 to 2027. In reality, if you start looking into these numbers and how AI is moving at pace, these numbers are being revised frequently to a much bigger expectation. AI today is disruptive, is making a big difference in the way we think, the way we do business, and definitely our role in Dell is to make sure that we're helping customers in this journey, and particularly here in the Middle East, across all these major countries, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar. Our presence, along with our partner and the partner ecosystem that we have in place, is basically helping customers to be ready for what is next, because what is next is happening now.
It is. And in terms of that, what lessons has Dell learned along the way in terms of the evolution of AI?
Great question, because I remember last year when everybody was talking about Gen AI. And you remember ChatGPT maybe
everywhere,
introduced this. I came to know about this from my son the first
so
time I heard about
children.
ChatGPT. And it's like, yeah, that's great. Everybody was on board with it because, AI is not new. We all know this. Gen AI basically grabbed the attention to the businesses and to the people because it speaks the human language. It generates pictures, videos, things, words, things that we can consume as a human being. Initially, what we started talking about Gen AI, everybody was talking about the GPU business, which is really shaping up the data centers, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it later on. Everybody was talking about all these smart algorithms, the large language model. The initial idea was like, okay, this Gen AI is a big thing, and it's going to need a lot of investments. It is going to require massive IT infrastructure. It requires a lot of data scientists and expertise around this, and everyone's focusing on this. Actually, if you take a look after 1 year, we've learned a lot, and there was some misconception about some of the things. For example, large language model. Yeah, there are major large language model where huge industries and companies were focusing on training these large language model, but we started to see much more ease of use of those language model. We started to see a smaller one. Don't be surprised to hear about a medium language model, a small language model. We started to see things focusing on specific verticals for the healthcare industry, for the education industry, and others, so that companies can really have something related to their business and easy to consume as fast as possible. At the same time, the GPU technology was critical in enabling Gen AI or making Gen AI available. True. But the things that we've learned from to answer your question now, there are 5 major concepts that Dell learned over the past year that we're helping customers to pay attention to. Quickly, number 1, the most important thing around running a Gen AI workload is the data. The data is the most important asset to those customers. This is how it's going to differentiate. This is how you're going to get more insights. This is how you're going to get more knowledge and deliver great outcomes in this. The number 2 lesson we've learned is AI needs to get closer to the data and not the other way around. And we started to see some studies were showing, for example, 83% of the CIOs are thinking to repatriate from cloud back to run AI workload on-prem because they really need to get closer to the data. And this is due to different reasons. One reason is related to the latency, another one for security, for sovereign AI, and many of those aspects. The third one is it's very important to right-size the infrastructure. It is not true that every AI need massive tens and hundreds and thousands of servers and GPU and multi-millions and sometimes billions of dollars that we started to hear. No, you need to right-size the IT infrastructure that will fit your need. And this is how we can definitely help. Sometimes you need a small requirement where you can run an AI on a PC or a normal server or those massive servers, including storage and network and other things. The lesson number 4 we learned is there is no vendor who can do this and be able to help customers on their own. Building the partner ecosystem is key. And we in Dell, we focus around this for decades. And we help in providing an end-to-end solution to customers. And this is what we do, for example, with Microsoft. This is what we do with NVIDIA. This is what we do with Hugging Face, with Meta and others, in order to be able to give this whole thing. And the other also important aspect, you have to have an open and modern architecture in everything you do.
Yes, of course.
I'll give you an example. We in Dell, we're a $100 billion company. We started on our own use of AI on a specific project. In the beginning, we started, let's say, with a large language model called X, let's say. In the middle of the project, we decided to move to another one, to Y. And if we did not have an open modular architecture, we would have thrown all these investments and started from scratch. But you need something that gives you the flexibility and the feasibility. Around those lessons learned, there is also an important subject, and maybe you touch base a little bit on it, on the sustainability.
Yes, of course.
The sustainability subject, if it was important, more than ever now is important with AI. And this is not something you should worry about later on. This is something you should worry about from the beginning. To make sure that you have the right strategy. You're using the right technology. You're having the right data center equipped to be able to cater to this. And last but not least, security. Security is something you cannot ignore with all what's happening today around the security and the cyber attacks. AI is going to touch your data, the most important assets, and this is the last thing you want to put to make it available publicly. You need to think more and more about your privacy. You need to think more and more about how to secure this important assets.
Absolutely. It's key, and I think is with AI, it's touched everybody's lives. I don't think it's something you can't ignore. It's everywhere now.
Exactly.
Definitely. So looking at that rapid adoption of cloud, edge computing, and AI, how does Dell position itself to support its growth in the Middle East region?
So if we step back a little bit, because we spoke a lot about AI, the key areas that Dell focuses on in the region and across the globe are the following. One is how we can help customers to achieve data center modernization.
Yes.
Two is how can they have the right strategy around multi-cloud.
Yeah.
Third is what about your security strategy? Fourth, what about the edge?
Yeah.
And fourth, what about the fifth, what about the workforce transformation? Now, let me touch base quickly on these aspects. Edge, for example. A lot of people, when we speak about AI, we talk about data centers.
Yeah.
But in reality, we said data is the most important asset. 50-60% of the data is being generated at the edge. You need to capture this.
Yeah.
You need to know how to manage this. A lot of the inferencing is happening at the edge. So we cannot ignore those edge locations anymore in any type of business, whether you are in the healthcare industry or the educational industry or a government. A lot of things happen at the edge, and you need to make sure that you have the right solution that will address this.
Yeah.
This is one of the areas in the Middle East and also across the globe where we're working with customers to provide them new solutions on how they can manage their edge and manage the assets and the data of the edge in a central location. You cannot go, let's say you're in industry, let's say you're in the educational industry and you have 200 schools or different locations, or a retail where you have 300 stores. You cannot manage IT infrastructure and provide solution and cater for this on those across all these locations. You need a centralized solution, advanced and capable to manage, deploy, secure, and control everything from a central locations. We've introduced last year Native Edge, which is something now started in the Middle East to have the attention of the customers, which will also very much interlock with AI to be able to provide also AI solution at the edge. Cloud is a very important aspect, especially here in the Middle East.
Yes.
And there were different directions in the industry when it comes to the cloud computing. Some people and vendors thought this is, okay, I want to have a cloud-first strategy. I want to move all workloads to the cloud. Very easy. So someone will take care of my IT workloads and I can focus only on business, which is, we said it from the beginning, it's not true. Cloud is not about a destination or a location. Cloud should be a strategy, and there will be no something called cloud first, the way we believe it. It is, you should have a multi-cloud strategy where you'll have the flexibility to be able to deploy workload and your resources where it suits you, where it makes business sense. Now, we all love clouds, because cloud is all about agility and efficiency and cost control, etc. But this can be exactly the opposite if it is not done right.
Yeah, of course.
This is why a lot of organizations in the Middle East, as well as across EMEA, they invested, and in a short period of time, they started to think of repatriating some of those workloads back to the private cloud. And now the sensitivity around the data, especially if you're dealing with public sectors here in the UAE or in Saudi Arabia or in Oman or Qatar, the sensitivity of the data with those public sectors, be it in the defense sector or be it in even the smart cities related or whatever it is important also to make sure that you have a very secure environment where you have the control.
Of course.
So our strategy is basically help customers to have the cloud, the public cloud experience, but have it on site.
Yes.
How can I help customers to be able to consume the IT infrastructure? How can I give them the capability and the technology to move workloads across where it suits them? And this is where in Dell, we actually partner with public cloud provider, and we also partner with customers. We're like the glue between the customers that keeps them together.
Yeah.
And this is why you'll see some solutions that are available on public providers like AWS, like Microsoft Azure, like Google Cloud. Those are Dell storage systems, for example, related to data protection or cyber vaults or general storage systems that are available through those public providers that can give the capability and the possibility for those customers to use it. At the same time, we partner with some of those vendors like Microsoft, where we build on-site what we call in Dell the Apex Cloud Platform, which is a Microsoft Azure, or we do it also with Red Hat. And now there are more and more partnerships like the one we had before and we still have with VMware to help customers to build their cloud stacks on-site and have an integration with all the possibility to move workloads within their location or data center co-location or edge, or within the public cloud. So that's another aspect where we in Dell are partnering, as I said, with customers and vendors to do this.
Perfect, thank you.
There is the aspect of the security. Look, security is, before a few years back, when we engage with customers, telling them about the threats and the importance to have a cyber strategy.
Yes.
And what about your cyber strategy in terms of recovery in case you got hit? Today, the discussion has changed. It's no longer, hey, this is a threat. They know it is a threat.
They know it's a huge
It
threat.
is a matter of if they did,
now.
exactly, if they did not get hit by a cyber attack, the question is about when.
Yeah.
And again, to simplify it, do you have the insurance policy that will prevent you, or at least give you the capability to recover without the need to be part of a ransom discussions and negotiations? Because this is going to impact your business.
Of course.
It's going to hit your reputation. It's going to cost you tons of money. And studies shows that a huge number of those customers who got hit, even if they paid a ransom, they could not manage to recover to the state of the pre-attack.
Yeah.
And some of those businesses were out. So we partner also with customers, leveraging also sometimes cloud technologies to give them this insurance policy, help them in detection, help them in recovery, help them in providing the latest and the greatest technology in order to be able to counter this attack. AI, we spoke about it. And we spoke about the things that we have learned about. But AI, why it's very important, and the engagement we have with the Middle East is really ramping up so quickly.
Yeah.
And actually, I have to make a statement in the Middle East, because I cover Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm very proud of the Middle East-based customers because they are ahead of the curve. They are keen. They're investing time and efforts and money and partnering with people like vendors like Dell and others to be able to be ahead of the curve from an AI perspective. But why? Very simple. AI has great business outcomes. Yeah, like you can, when we engage with customers, Mr. Customers, I can help you to be more productive. I can help you to reduce cost. I can help you to innovate and come up with the new ideas that will differentiate your business. And we have tons of use cases, no matter what the industry we're talking about. If we're talking to a healthcare or to a university or to a government in defense or in a smart city or whatever the initiative is, we have tons of use cases along with our partner ecosystem where we can share and provide with those institutions and be able to achieve immediately a business outcome. A lot of people think of AI as the ChatGPT or the co-pilot of the world. This is how internet started in the early 1990s.
It's so much more than that.
It is much more than that.
More.
Yeah. In the beginning, I tell some of the team members, especially the one who are not the youngest one, tell them in 1990, internet was all about email.
Yeah, it really was.
Sending email. And now, look at it now.
Yeah, the advancements.
It took few decades to become where we are today.
But
AI is going to be much more than a chatbot in a very short period of time. And we've seen it over 1 year. The use cases of AI are much more than a digital assistant. We've seen it in healthcare and how it helps cardiologists to be able to identify critical diseases ahead of the curve. Like it is here to serve a lot of the human progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of specific investments and initiatives for Dell, you've touched upon AI, you've touched upon sustainability, data solutions. Are there any other specific investments in the Middle East in any other particular areas?
Good question. And one aspect of this is obviously our presence here is in the Middle East, very important to those customers because we give them quick access to the innovation, to the R&Ds, to all the technology that we're talking about. We use local solution centers as well and local proof of concepts where those customers can have the touch and feel and tests and whatever you want to call it. That's one aspect. The other aspect is related to our services offering that we provide here locally in the Middle East across all the major countries. Because with this new industrial technological revolution with AI, one of the biggest challenge we see with customers, they don't know where to start. What's the business case? What's the use case? How can I manage the data? We said the data is the most important assets.
Yeah, of course.
A successful project in AI needs to guarantee that the data is prepped, ready, and can be ingested in an AI workload.
Yeah.
Some of the customers do not know where their data is. They need someone and some help to discover with them their data. They need help how to manage those data lake houses and prepare it to be ingested in an AI workload. If this is not done properly, it's not going to be successful at all in running any type of AI workload. So we partner with those customers to fill the gaps on the needs, on the skills, in order to be able to help them in managing their data, in right-sizing the IT infrastructure, and providing these and providing a guarantee that those AI projects is going to be simple and also successful. If you ask me what's your strategy globally around AI, is to accelerate the adoption of AI.
Yes.
With all these customers. We want to democratize AI. We want to make it simple. We want to make it accessible. Because it can be the opposite. It can be super complex. As I said, this is why customers are confused where to start, what to do, and how to do it. And this is what we are providing here. We're providing the skills, the talents, the resources, and training those customers. So when we engage with those customers also, we're making sure that they are being trained. They can continue on their own. They can build for the next project and the project after that. So I believe, and the good thing, the Middle East customers are hungry to learn more.
Yes, of course.
They want to train their employees. They want everybody to adopt this. Now, starting from simple things, how to use Copilot, for example, we're providing them the technology even at the PC level, providing PCs, advanced PCs, ready with AI, ready with Copilot, with also services from Dell that can help those customers to have a simple adoption around things like Copilot as a chatbot.
Yes.
And take this idea and you can multiply it to those complex projects that I'm talking about to run a much bigger type of AI workload. We continue to commit to this presence, the access to the technology, providing the skills and the services, along also with our partners here in the region to make sure that they are helping us to advance quickly in this mission.
Perfect. That was bringing me on to talk about those partners in the region. So are there any ways as well that you work with those partners and also governments to address those key challenges that you face in this particular region around cybersecurity, around data sovereignty? And have you got any success stories or collaborations that you could share with us?
So first, on the partner side, our go-to-market strategy in the Middle East is and will continue to be with partners. So we have what we call an indirect model, 100% indirect model in the Middle East. We make sure that we're always engaged with partners. And we believe we're going to continue in this type of investments, especially during this period, because this period will require from all of us to change, to adapt, to learn new things.
Yes.
AI is shaking the whole way of doing business, as we said in the beginning.
Yes.
And now it's impacting cloud computing, as I said. It's impacting the data center. And I want to touch also a little bit maybe later on the sustainability aspect a little bit more. So we want our partners to be on this journey, like what we're doing with the end user customers. We also want our partner to be on this journey. We have a very good partner network in the Middle East, very good relationship, very loyal relationship between us and them and between them and us. But we want them to adapt quickly and be ready for what is next.
Yes.
So a lot of those partners like Dell, we are expert in doing data center modernization, providing infrastructure solutions, etc. We want to elevate this. We want to be more ready in how we engage together with the partners to help customers in their data management.
Yes.
How can we engage with them in identifying the real business case and map it to the right use case? How can we help them to right-size this infrastructure? How can we make sure the adoption and the transformation of the data center are being done also quickly, as fast enough to cater for what is next? This is from the side of the partner. Now here locally in the region, sovereign AI is becoming more and more important. And this requires that the public entities to be able to have the capabilities to run AI locally in a secured way in the country for the internal use.
Yes.
we've seen over the past year and a half, globally, as well as in the Middle East, service providers were equipped, they were rushing and making sure that they have data center capability along with AI capability to be able to provide AI as a service.
Yes.
Or a GPU as a service, some of the people
Yeah.
also call it. Those are great initiatives globally and locally. However, there is a mandate for local governments to build their own AI cloud in order to achieve the sovereign AI or the security aspect of the sensitive data and workloads related to those countries. So we're partnering with those governments.
Yep.
We're in discussion with them and showing them how we can partner, because we are the enablers from a technology perspective to make this happen. Of course, rules and regulations and the strategy overall we can help with. However, this is something that local governments are putting in place.
Yep.
And we believe this is something going to be kind of not only important, more like a mandate with the local governments. And we are fully ready as Dell to partner with them to make sure that we are the technology enabler and to make sure that this can be transformed into reality.
Absolutely. And we touched upon cybersecurity
Yeah.
Earlier on. Would you say globally, a lot of companies were quite nonchalant to it, and then they've seen the rapid sophistication around cyber crimes, haven't they?
Yeah.
And how do you think Dell is equipped to deal with this?
So from one side, globally, they are, I can tell you in EMEA, for example, specifically in Europe, there are legal aspects and rules that have been put in place, addressed and endorsed by the EU to make sure that companies are prepped for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've heard about DORA, you've heard about what they're doing in the financial sector,
Yeah,
etc.
of course.
So this is becoming more and more mature by the governments across the globe, that this is something we need to address. And this is what we've been saying from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something good to have. It's not
course.
like, hey, do you want to have your data backed up here? It's not a data protection thing, and you choose whether you want to back it up or not.
Yeah.
It's a much more critical aspect.
Definitely now.
The new war in the world is becoming more around cyber.
Yes.
And I've been on a visit last week. I just came from France, in Paris, where they have what they call there is a location for a full building built and supported by the government around cyber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they call it cyber, forgot the exact naming, cyber center or center cyber or something like this. And we partner with them there. And I've spent 2 days in this center because a lot of those small companies, small organizations, startup companies, they don't have the capabilities to be able to have this sophisticated solution in terms of detection, in terms of recovery, etc.
Yeah.
They need help in what's the strategy, what kind of services, where they can get help. And this is what we're doing globally, this is what we're doing in Europe, and this is what we are also working on here in the Middle East. Helping small and big companies in having the strategy and also the know-how and the capability. The data, the most important asset, needs to be protected in a very sophisticated way so that the cyber people cannot attack it.
Yes.
And when the cyber can attack your production data center, they can easily attack your data backup copy or copies.
Yeah.
So you need to have an air gap, you need to have a vault location where your data, no one can access it and can be used as quickly as possible whenever you need it.
Yeah.
So there are much around this, but this is what we've been doing, not recently, we've been doing this now for several years. And we're ready to take those customers to the next level.
Definitely. And I think that's so important with those small to medium-sized organisations because they're probably more vulnerable because they're constrained with finance and budget to be able to invest in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So that's a fantastic initiative from Dell.
Yeah.
Said, you've touched upon sustainability there. Can you just tell us what has the impact in terms of the data centres?
It's by the way, it's massive. Especially now with AI.
Yeah.
And let me simplify it in a very simple way. A workload, a simple workload that we used to run in a data center that needs few CPUs.
Yeah.
With machine learning, it became like you need some GPU or tens of CPUs. With Gen AI now, we're talking about hundreds of CPUs, equal to hundreds of CPUs. So those workloads are really heavy in terms of the technology needs,
Yeah.
which is putting more and more pressure on data center size, density, cooling, power requirements. And it's important to take this, as I said in the beginning, into your pre-design before you need to apply any AI workload, and not something you need to worry about later on because it's gonna be too late. This is shaping up now how we're also customers building their data centers. We've introduced technologies over the past years, for example, around direct liquid cooling, and let me tell you why in a second. But I was attracted to one of the McKinsey studies where they said by 2030, we need 8 times more, or we're going to be much bigger in terms of the needs of the sustainability, in terms of the power, in 8 years from now.
Wow.
Now, if you take a look at how the technology is moving, it's also moving fast to be more dense, more efficient.
Yeah.
It's like a workload that required 6 servers to run it in 2013. Today, you can run it on 1 server. So the technology is helping, but however, the need of those workloads and how these being developed are also moving at pace.
Of course.
Now, the technology that NVIDIA and others are bringing for GPU is really impacting and shaping how the data center is going to look like, because some of those GPU cannot be air-cooled in a short period of time. You need water to cool it.
Yeah,
and we are in Dell having lots of offerings to our customers where it can be air-cooled and it can be liquid-cooled. We also partner with other vendors where we can provide an end-to-end solutions with cabinets that can capture 90% of the heat.
Yeah.
Those are becoming much more essential. Here in the Middle East, we never worried about data center size or the power required for this or how we're going to cool these data centers. But now with those needs of AI workloads, customers here in the Middle East, like the globe, started to think of how we're going to make sure that we're transforming those data centers to be able to enable direct liquid cooling, as an example. How can we support more power per cabinet? In few years, like by 2030, there will be like 530 gigawatts of needs across data centers. The data centers used to be built in 1-2 years and it will last for 20 years, 25 years. Now it's moving at much faster pace. Globally, the data center business is now came to the front line because we need much more data centers than ever. And here in the Middle East, across the major countries like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, etc., the good thing about it is those governments and also companies that are existing in those countries, they are ahead of the curve by making sure since few years preparing for the data center availability and to be state-of-the-art data centers to cater for what's happening.
Okay, fantastic. So, and that also brings on in terms of supporting your environmental goals in the Middle East, as well as the global goals environmentally for Dell.
Yeah, and it's part of our mission. We have a moonshot goal, we call it, by 2030 in terms of the use of the carbon footprint and all the things we do. So if you take a look at our supply and factories, etc., we are getting away from all these non-environmental friendly type of solution. The way we are also innovating around the technologies in the server and the storage, etc., we are keen and committed to really get away from all the technology or the materials that is not environmental friendly. So we have aggressive goals that we would like to achieve.
That's good.
And we have our own programs where we can also engage with customers to show them those details and how we can also make sure that the solution we're providing to their data centers is environmental friendly. Yeah.
Said, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sally. I appreciate it and looking forward to partner with a lot of the customers and partners to take them through this journey around AI, around security, around multi-cloud. We're here to help.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
For more information about Dell's products and services, you can visit the website, dell.com. I'm the Middle East marketer, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Desert Dialogues.